Hello and welcome. This fairy tale or tale is called Still Red and it's by the author Sabrina Locke. The stench from a stinking hulk filled Emily's nose, thick and deep with rot. Her throat closed and her overtaxed lungs screamed for air. She altered, panting a little while she surveyed the thing. Nature had been busy. It was hard to tell now exactly what sort of critter had decided to die on this stretch of Oregon beach. Seal, probably. It was losing shape, started to liquefy. Greyish slabs of fat and flesh still slid down thick yellow bones that jutted skyward like flagpoles. The smell had an overlay that was fishy and ordinary, but beneath the surface scent floated rich streamers of decay, familiar scents. She learned the smells of death before she could draw her ABCs. Long ago and far away it had been, in the woods with the hunters in the time of stories. She remembered she was grateful for that fact. There was so much she'd forgotten. Days, weeks, entire stretches of her long life had vanished into the treacherous depths of her mind. But not the story. Never the story. She had lived with the story so long she'd forgotten when it ended and when it began, or if there was such a thing as a borderland between story and history, between fantasy and reality. A story was the singular constant of a lonely life. Oh, the one thing that gave her purpose. She clung to the memory as fiercely as she gripped her walking stick. The doctors said many strokes were erasing her memories bit by bit, that it was only a matter of time now before she forgot even her own name. What did they know? Doctors. They were little boys and girls in white coats who thought they could protect people with charts stuck to clipboards because science explained everything. Fools. They knew nothing of the way the world truly worked. She knew that life, the whole crazy mess of it, was made of bits and bobs of this and that, cut apart with round-tipped scissors and thrown high into the air, only to settle to the tile floor, where clever little hands sorted the pieces, arranged them even on wide sheets of colourful construction paper, pasted everything, taking care to press out each and every bubble with it, smooth and dry and flat. What a pretty picture, Emily. I love all the colours you used. Is that you with your doggy? No, bitch. Don't you know a fucking wolf when you see one? No, they never did. That was another lesson of her long life. Wolves offered death on a platter, or gleaming fangs and lethal claws. Most fools never recognise the danger until the very last second, when it was too late to do anything but scream and bleed and die. She'd seen that too often, and hated the way they bargained for their lives. All dignity abandoned in a frantic bid to save their cowardly skins. Critics could say what they wanted, but Emily had never begged, not at all. She had never gone to God. Forbid. Blubbered, never that. Blubbering was not only useless, it wasted precious energy. If through sheer dumb luck the fools managed to escape the wolf, they were still not safe, because a hunter would track them down. Wolves and hunters, one followed another, and that was the way of things. Thighs burning and her feet sinking deeper into the sand with every step. She trudged forward, the rocks at the foot of a sheer basalt cliff. About 20 feet away, the beach turned shiny with hard, packed sand where the tide rolled and formed. She wouldn't sink there, but she'd be closer to the water, closer to danger from the sneaker waves the activities director from the home had warned. Yep, been warned about them before. She'd let them get off the bus, lectured them in that serious but concerned tone young people use with their elders, like they cared. Emily was almost to the cliffs when she glanced over her shoulder and spotted the activities director, Becca, trotting after her, one slim arm in the air waving like she was trying to flag down a rescue helicopter. Emily's stomach tightened. Should have moved faster. Too late now. "Miss Flannery, wait up," Rebecca called. Emily halted, leaning on a walking stick, breathing a little harder than she would have liked. Becca jogged to a stop, her pretty tanned face flushed from exertion. She popped her fists on her hips and shot Emily a look that said, "You're not behaving." Emily pasted a blank and what she hoped was slightly dotty sort of smile. You know, the kind that make you look crazy. Right on her face. "Is there a problem?" She watched Becca glance around the beach. The campfire with the rest of the folks from the home was far enough away to look small in the distance. A man and a woman walked together under the cliffs, and the big yellow dog loped around them in circles, ears flapping, tongue lolling. An older man in a baseball cap and baggy shorts stalked along the shoreline, swinging a metal detector back and forth in wide sweeps. Business as usual. Becca looked perturbed. "Where do you think you're going? I thought we all agreed to stay together." It was the way she said it that was so irritating, as if Emily had no more of a right to independence than your average toddler, with Becca standing in for mummy. As if Emily hadn't been a grown bloody woman since before the birth of Becca's own mother. As if there was anything that could happen out here that Emily couldn't handle. She tightened her grip on the walking stick. "I'm just taking a little walk." Becca reached and started to put an arm around Emily's shoulders, but Emily stepped back. Becca reached for her again, but Emily stopped her with a hand. "I'm fine. Really. Let me help you back to join the others. You're missing the Esmos. The s'mores, sorry." "I'm not ready to go back yet." Emily gestured toward the cliffs. "I set myself a goal to walk all the way there and back. The doctors say exercise is important." "You made it quite a distance. Far enough to count for exercise, that's for sure. So why don't you just come back now?" Emily cranked up the wattage on a batty old lady smile. She'd been told that smile could scare small children. She never tested it before, on 20-somethings. "I brought my journal." Mentioning the journal seemed to have worked because Becca's expression softened. Emily's journal was a fat thing, the pages thickened with layers of gesso acrylic paints and all sorts of coloured materials. An activities director. Becca had spent weeks encouraging the residents to draw, paint, and record events and stories from their lives. Emily was proud of her journal because it detailed her story, the real story, not the lie she lived, the past 70 years. She let the walking stick fall to the sand, opened the volume, and flipped to the page that she wanted, then turned it around so Becca could see. The art it spread across the pages featured a drawing of a cave set into a sheer black cliff face, Just inside the mouth of the cave, a small girl sat, with her knees pulled up to her chest, her long red hair streaming over her body like a cape. Becca's hand drifted over the coloured pencil on Gesso image. You finished that page just the other day. Yes, Emily said. It's the last one. Becca frowned. Why the last one? You've got plenty more pages in your journal. We have 4 more sessions, I know. But I finished my story. There was one more step left. But explaining that would only confuse Becca. She didn't know how the world worked. No. Emily pointed again. Up ahead. There's a cliff that looks just like this I drew. I'd like to go there and sit for a while with my journal and look through it while the sun sets, she shrugged. I know it's silly, but if you'll just humour an old woman, I promise I won't stay long and I'll be good. A shout rose up from the group back by the campfire. Becca glanced over her shoulders and back at Emily and shook a finger. 1 hour. No more, or I'm coming after you. 1 hour, Emily echoed. Before she set off, Becca bent and reached toward the ground. I'll take this back with me. No, I need my walking stick. Keeps me steady. The muscles in Becca's trim arms flexed as she hefted the thing, clearly unwilling to return it to Emily. Please, Becca, I need it. I need that. It's the only way I can't hurt myself. If I've got that, I won't fall down. You don't want that to happen, do you? Becca hesitated for what felt like a long time before finally handing it over. Don't make me regret this. Emily mumbled, suitably appreciative. Nonsense until Becca headed back toward the group. It took her another 15 minutes to reach the cave. There she found a flattish sort of rock where she sat, leaving the walking stick close at hand, and placed a journal in her lap. The sun rode low on the horizon, and the tide, while still out, was beginning to turn. When her hour was up, the waves would be rolling about her ankles. The timing was a guess at best, but there was nothing left to do but hope she got it right. The wind whipped her hair and lifted up her skirt. I'm not afraid of the dark places, and I am coming for you, she whispered. She opened her journal, read her story for one last time. And that is the first part of this wonderful fairy tale. Please join me for the second part. Thank you for listening and many blessings.